I have two objects here. Here's my first question for you. Which of these can I just toss out into the group?
The pillow.
The pillow I can toss out to you? And that's okay? How come I can't? How about this one? Can I throw you this one?
I guess you could.
I could. So what if it was ceramic? This one happens to be metal. If it was ceramic, why not?
I'd be afraid it would break.
You'd be afraid it would break. What would be the problem with that?
If you don't catch it.
No, but I mean, why do you care if it breaks?
If it's something that I care about, I don't want it to break.
Okay. And why is it okay to throw that then?
It's not going to break.
It's not going to break. Which of these items would you want to fill your classroom with?
Good question. Fill the classroom with?
Yeah, I'm going to ask you the really hard question. You have to choose between one or the other. If you had to choose between one or the other, which would you fill your classrooms with?
I would do the ceramic one, or the whatever we're saying the cup is, yeah.
This is a kiddish cup.
Kiddish cup, yeah.
We're willing to call it a kiddish cup. So you'd fill your classroom with kiddish
Yes, I
cups. Can you tell us a little bit about your reasoning?
Okay, because a couple reasons. Because the object is sacred.
Okay.
So there's something to learn from just having it in the room. Because the object is breakable.
Okay.
There's a value to be learned in that we respect things that are fragile. And when something is break, it also teaches. There's lots of opportunities for teaching with it.
Okay.
If it does break, it teaches about safety, about responsibility, and you can kind of plug into any number of other things.
So what's fascinating about what Rami's suggesting here, I think, implicit in Rami's proposal,
Yes.
is that he's willing to survive the breaking of the kiddish cup.
Yes.
He's turning it into a learning opportunity, actually. He can survive the breaking of that kiddish cup, presumably because we could get others, or, right? No one dies, no one, Judaism's still around after we break the kiddish cup.
Yes.
Okay, so interesting. Can we hear an alternative argument for the pillow? A classroom full of pillows. Why? Sarah.
I think it would be really fun to have a classroom full of pillows because you'd have all kinds of comfy places to sit and learn, to sit and read, and you could kind of move them to create whatever kind of space you wanted, and it could create all kinds of interesting learning opportunities.
Okay, and no one would get hurt, no one would get broken,
Yeah,
right? In fact,
could, throw the kids around and they'd be fine.
you could throw the kids around, never mind the kiddish cup.
Yeah.
Remember that, we're gonna come back to that actually. Isaac, you had something.
Yeah, I mean, I think that you could bring in kind of the ritual that the kiddish cup represents without having a kiddish cup. And so you could be like, all the kids could be lounging around on pillows and you could still bring them.
Okay, so Isaac is doing the Jewish thing and saying, I want my cake, I want to have it too. I don't want to make a choice between kiddish cups and pillows, because when we have a classroom full of pillows and all this safety and durability and resilience, and I can take risks and experiment, and there's going to be there's no drawback to that, except when I don't have any kiddish cups in my classroom, what am I teaching as a Jewish educator? I'm giving up something sacred, something potentially fragile. So I want to suggest to you that this is the dilemma that we bring into our classrooms as Jewish educators all the time. This tension between durability and fragility. And does it have to be a trade-off? There's an essential question. What is the thing that is your biggest pet peeve that you could hear from your students, what they say about Judaism or being Jewish? What gets your goat? It's the thing you hate to hear the most. That's not how you do it. The student says that to you.
Or to each other.
Vis-a-vis something Jewish?
Yeah, I think that if someone's sharing something that they do, their ritual, or if I'm introducing something like a new practice, it bothers me, although I know that developmentally there's really nothing wrong with it. Maybe, I'm not sure. But it bothers me that there isn't more openness to different types of practice.
So there's a rigidity, a rule set out there that pushes something in you, a button in you.
I understand that I feel a little bad for feeling this. I understand that the children need to learn the keva, and they need a certain structure of the age group that I'm teaching, but I wish they would be more open.
Okay, thank you. How do you usually respond?
I explained that there is more than one way to do things.
Okay. Try and,
I'm sorry?
What age do you teach?
Fourth grade.
so it's like in that moment where they bring the Kiddush cup in, you have to bring in a few pillows. It's one way of, that your response is actually to bring in some pillows, some cushion to the rigidity. That's not how you do it. This is it. And you're saying, well, actually, there's some room here. We play with the metaphor. It may not work, but let's see how it goes. Other problems. Aura.
So I don't know if this is my pet peeve, it's just that it's the most recent example that I can think of.
Okay.
So we were talking about Mishloach Manot, and I was asking them where do they think the idea comes from?
Okay.
And I had some very strange answers. But I think there's this lack of textual knowledge of why and where these things come from and why we do them. It's kind of like this belief of theirs, well, maybe like it's in the air or maybe whatever, and kind of taking it down to that level of looking at we are and why.
So is this a Jewish literacy pet peeve? That students aren't bringing in familiarity?
I think it's a Jewish literacy pet peeve, maybe not vis-a-vis kids so much as maybe ourselves as teachers even. Because when I thought about it, I said, well, they've been training Mishloach Manot since kindergarten. They're in fifth grade now. Is there some place where they may have learned that this is what they did?
Okay.
Maybe about this there.
Okay.
So I don't know.
So what they're coming to you with are wrong answers. That's what you're.
Maybe lack of knowledge of the text.
For me, it's not so much what I'm hearing, it's what I'm not hearing.
Okay.
When it comes to certain rituals, I'm not hearing questions being asked out in fourth grade. And it's a very inquisitive group. Other areas. So I'm curious as to why I'm not hearing why do we do that? Why do they say that? Why do they? I don't hear why.
Am I understanding you correctly that it's inquisitive group when it's in general studies? And when you hit Jewish studies, all of a sudden they're somehow turning off their inquiry stance?
Specifically to rituals in regard to prayer.
Let's think about this. What's going on between first grade and fourth grade with tefillah? And I want to suggest to you that tefillah is one of the most bizarre things that we could be doing in America, even though it's such a religious country. Liberal Jews in particular, I'm playing with this syllogism, A is to this, as that is to this. So I want to throw out to you the possibility that prayer is to American Jews as UFOs are to mainstream society, right? It's out there. We hear about it. We hear stories on TV about people who see them every now and then. But it's a strange and countercultural activity. And then what is the message that happens if so much of, or a third, if we break down Jewish education into sort of prayer, Hebrew, well, maybe 4, Jewish text and Israel. Maybe those are our 4 major Jewish commonplaces, roughly. A quarter of that happens to be related to prayer. So are we throwing and jumping and doing somersaults the same way as we are in Sarit's general studies room, where presumably they're asking all sorts of questions about their literature, their general studies literature, their social studies, their history. Wait, why didn't Columbus, why did he do this? Why did the Pilgrims do that? How come those questions aren't flying out about Shalach Manos, about Mishloach Manos? What would you say is the opposite of play? Play can be risky, and under stress it tends to disappear. We're playing in our general studies classrooms, we're not playing as much in our Jewish studies. So this is dire in the seal pup situation. It's really about life and death. In fact, it's about no less than survival. Perhaps we're bringing into our classrooms the anxiety about Jewish survival. Play out. How am I really saying this is making its way into the classroom? Okay, so I want to invite you into a minyan. I did research for 1 year, in-depth research in a Jewish day school. It happened to be a Jewish day high school, but I think you'll hear lots of echoes. And this is a minyan that is called a minyan, but it functions somewhat more educationally. It's sort of a class/minyan, sort of a shiur minyan. But it's, and I want you to pay attention to what you see, what you hear, what you feel, and to the extent that we can use this metaphor, what's broken